stadium lights, the cricket buzz before halftime. My heart racing like it's 4th and 5 on a Midwest Saturday night.
Welcome back to another episode of Mizzou Storytellers. I'm Loretta Jones.
I'm Dave Matter.
Man, it is a tropical heat wave here
really
in
is.
our studio.
Oh, I thought you meant outside.
Also that. It's actually hotter in here than it is outside.
It is quite warm today. Do we have the heat on because we have indoor track season is not over, but we're not hosting any more meets, right?
Correct.
We do have wrestling here tomorrow night as we record this, so maybe we have the heat up for the wrestling match.
No, I think what happens is like in November, the first time it even gets close to freezing, we flip on the furnace and it doesn't get turned off until like Memorial Day. So when it gets nice outside, it just gets even hotter in here.
It's the Hearns ecosystem.
Probably our number one topic of conversation here. I know our listeners love hearing about.
Makes me think of that movie Biodome. Did you ever see that?
Did I ever see Biodome?
Is that a Pauly Shore movie?
Oh my gosh, yes. That was an all-timer.
But just thinking about calling it the Hearns ecosystem just made me think of Biodome. I don't know why.
We need to get a mahi fish up there to go wade in the Biodome. That's for the big. That's for the real Biodome fans out there.
Yep.
Well, we're back.
We are back, and I'm really excited about today's guest because I think this is one of the first times that somebody has been just like so excited that they reached out to you.
Yeah. Well, it's someone I've known for a long time, a friend, and he doesn't live in Columbia, but he happens to be in town, and we timed this up perfectly, and can't wait to get him in here.
I'm excited. I think he's here.
He's a father, he's a husband, he's a grandfather, which I just learned or maybe you'd forgotten. He's a Husky, he's an offensive innovator, he's now an author, and he's a big reason Mizzou football took its next step in the 2000s. He's Dave Christensen, and he's today's guest on Mizzou Storytellers. Welcome back to Columbia, Dave.
It is awesome to be back.
Yeah. Now, where is home right now?
So home right now is in Peoria, Arizona. It's in the Northwest Valley, down there in the Phoenix area, where it's probably 75 degrees today.
Yeah.
Somebody does spring training down there. In Peoria.
Well, there are a lot of them down in the Peoria area. The Mariners are down there. White Sox are down there. Padres are down there. Yeah, a lot of teams.
I was going to say, I feel like I've heard people talk about Peoria, Arizona. My husband's family is from Peoria, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
And that's why it always catch me when I see Peoria, and I'm like, oh.
Not the same?
Vastly different destinations. Yes.
No, the weather is certainly different.
Yes.
Speaking of a Seattle team, you are fresh off the Super Bowl to watch your Seattle Seahawks. What was that experience like?
It was
your first Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, my first Super Bowl. It was incredible. It was the pageantry of the Super Bowl, everything that you hear about or see on television. The NFL lived up to it. Obviously, having the Seahawks in it was huge. Getting the win was huge, and to spend the day with my son at his first Super Bowl, with our team being in it and winning was pretty spectacular.
That's pretty awesome.
Did you have the tickets before the Seahawks made it, or did you get the tickets after the Seahawks won the division?
I actually got the tickets the night the Seahawks won. A friend of mine goes every year. He gets 2 tickets from a former official. He called and said, Dave, I know you're a Seahawk fan. I can't go this year. You have any interest?
Oh, that's so cool.
And for face value.
Wow, even better.
Yeah, so it took me about half a second to say absolutely. And so it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun.
That's so cool.
Well, we'll cover what you're doing now and what you have done recently, and we'll obviously get to the stretch when you were here at Mizzou. But from Washington, you grew up in Everett, Washington.
I did.
Is that hometown?
It's my hometown.
When did kind of football enter your life and up in the Northwest?
So when I was 7 years old, I went with a friend of mine who was 9 to the boys' club. He was signing up for tackle football, and I wasn't old enough to play, but I got there, and they apparently needed players, and I was big enough to play, and so they invited me to play. Back then, they weren't as concerned about age gaps, I guess, and when they asked me if I wanted to play, and I saw the uniform, a helmet and shoulder pads, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm all in. And so 7 years old was my first organized tackle football. And yeah, that was my first experience with it, and I haven't got far away from it since.
Was your first team then the Huskies, Washington, growing up in the state?
So I was a huge Husky fan.
Yeah.
In fact, I've been told, I don't know if it's actually true, that I wore different University of Washington shirts to school every day. They'd just gone to the Rose Bowl in 78, 77 season. I was still in high school, so
Yeah.
I bought, back then you didn't get as many things online as you can get today when
Right.
somebody goes to a bowl. But anything that they did have, I had. And yeah, I was a huge Husky fan.
Yeah. And then you start playing in high school, obviously, get a chance to play in college. What was that path like? I mean, eventually you get to Washington, but didn't necessarily start there.
Right.
Yeah, so I went to junior college out of high school, and I was there for a quarter and played at Yakima Valley College. I knew the defensive coordinator at Washington, a guy named Jim Lambright. Jim eventually became the head coach there. He was from my hometown and knew that I wanted to go to Washington. He's who recruited me out of high school, and so he helped me get into school there. Back in the day, I applied to school. I was denied admission. I called him, and the next week I was accepted in admission. So things have changed a little bit since
a little
then.
bit.
Just a little.
And so I walked on at Washington the spring of my freshman year, and I was on the team, mainly a scout team player. I did get 2 varsity snaps in my years there, but great experience. Obviously met the right people in the coaching profession. Coach Pinkel at the time was the quarterback coach. No, actually he was the tight end wide receiver coach, I think. And so, yeah, I started developing my relationships with those coaches, and started coaching shortly after I finished playing there. I went up to Western Washington, which is where I met my wife, got my first coaching job, and bounced around for a couple. I did Western a year, 2 years of high school. Then I went to Eastern Washington, got my master's degree, and coached there.
Yeah.
Then I came back to the University of Washington and was a graduate assistant, volunteer assistant there for 2 years before finally getting my first paying job.
Yeah. We'll get to that, but I was going to ask, so when you're a player in college, even if you're not playing in the games a lot, at that point, are you thinking about coaching?
Yeah.
Are you mentally already networking with these guys, or how'd that work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. The influence that my high school coach and Don James and his assistants, the influence they had on me in shaping me and helping develop my life, my habits, it resonated with me, and it was what I wanted to do, to be able to give back and have the same type of influence, positive influence on, kids like, I got from them. I mean, if it wasn't for my coaches, this is not where I would be sitting today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Do you feel like if you had played more, that you still would have had that same drive? I find that a lot of the times the walk-ons, the athletes that don't play as much, they spend so much time on the sidelines and with the coaches that they become like a student coach, like a player coach.
right.
And so I think that often drives that. Do you feel like you would have had that same experience had you been playing more?
I think so, because, my whole thing was about mentorship and what they brought to me, the feeling that I had because of them. I kind of knew I wasn't going to be a great player there. I was undersized. I was just, small, slow, and not very strong. So those weren't a good combination to getting on the field.
Yeah.
But, learning, the ability to have discipline and all those type of lessons, attitude, discipline, structure in your life, all those type of things that, I learned there. And it's what, drove me to want to be into coaching.
Mm-hmm. The one thing, okay, we are going to promote your book here, and we'll get into that and how you became an author. Your fourth down, why you need to go for it, really, really good. You hit on so many great things on here, but I learned something about you. I didn't realize that when you were a teenager that you lost your older brother.
Oh.
And you can share as much as you want, but how did that impact you kind of the rest of your life, your career going forward?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I never really talked about it in my coaching career.
Mm-hmm.
It was never something I brought up to our teams, to my players. But when I sat down to write the book, I wanted to go back and reflect on kind of my journey and then the things that gave me a chance to be successful.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of my life. It was, it was good for me to write this book, to go back to that time. It was a pivotal point in my life. I was 14 years old. My brother was 16. He had gotten sick, had myocarditis at the time. Medicine wasn't like it is today.
Yeah.
They'd only done 1 or 2 heart transplants, and that's what he would have needed. And so once he passed away, obviously it shook my world. I was in 8th grade, at the spring of my 8th grade year. But I had to make some decisions on, exactly how I wanted to live my life. And so, I went through the grieving process, obviously, but then I decided that I'd use it, for a motivating factor to push myself, to make good choices, to be the best I could be in all areas of life. And so I used it as a motivating factor in my life. And that's what I talk about in the book is, 4th downs in football, I think we're all familiar with how just important they are. But we're all going to be faced with 4th downs in life. And, how do you react when those 4th down moments come? And that's really what a lot of this book's about is, I've, at that time in my life, chose to go for it, which I did a lot in my football career as well. And then I get into the book about, the adapt game plan that I, used throughout my career to help me have success in those principles. So, yeah.
I never knew about that, but reading about it was just really compelling. Kind of put everything in your time, your age, then in perspective, and I'm glad you were able to share that that part of your, not that you went through it, but that you were able to share it in writing the book. Was it kind of cathartic to write about it a little bit too?
It was,
just to
because
kind of put it on paper and share it with the world.
It was good actually. It was really good to go back and not so much relive the tough part, but I did have a brother that we were normal siblings. We fought a lot, and but we grew up in a 900 square foot home. We shared a bedroom. We had to have bunk beds because the room was so small. So to go back and look at those things is comes to another part of my book. It's where you're at or where you start or where you're at doesn't have to determine where you finish. And we talk about that a lot in there as well.
One place where you did not finish was Idaho State, and you kind of mentioned that was your first full-time coaching job. Were you and Susie married then?
Yeah, we were.
And you were pulling down a grand total of $18,000 a year for that job.
Yeah, no benefits, no car, and oh, by the way, at the time, Susie, and I was volunteering at Washington.
Yeah.
Susie was making $100,000 in the car business.
Oh, she's selling cars.
She was in finance at that time. Yeah. And she quit that job so I could take an $18,000.
Oh, how'd that conversation go? That's like your first real recruiting pitch, right?
Well, I mean, we got married in '86. I went to Eastern Washington. She worked for 2 years, got in the car business, sold cars for a year, then got into management.
Okay.
Then I go to University of Washington. I'm basically volunteering again. Oh, by the way, we paid for my graduate school at Eastern. They didn't give me a scholarship. She supported us for 2 more years there. So this was our 5th year of marriage. Oh, by the way, we also have a baby that was born in September. And, I get that big $18,000 a year job.
And when you're at that stage, are you constantly convincing her, convincing yourself that, like, this is going to pay off? There will be a time where we look back on these as like, hey, we remember how tough that was. We earned it. Look where we are now. Or was your mind even there yet?
I was just grinding, trying to make it. I wanted to coach. She never batted an eye. She worked for my career. That's why, she happened to do well, but she went to work every day so that I could, pursue my career.
Yeah.
And so, it was quite a commitment on her part. We sacrificed a lot to make it in the business.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of money in coaching at the time.
Yeah.
Even, people at the University of Washington, those coordinators probably weren't making $100,000.
Yeah.
So, we put a lot into it, and then I got that big break, and it was crazy because then we're there 2 years. We have another baby. Now we got 2 babies.
Yeah.
And we get fired there. And then Coach Pinkel hires me at Toledo.
Yeah.
But there's a hiring freeze, so they can't pay me for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So I go to Toledo and work. She comes out, has another job in the car business. I don't get paid for 6 months. and it didn't stop me from working those hours. And then
Yeah.
a few years into it, I became the offensive coordinator. But once again, they had a hiring freeze and a wage freeze, so I didn't get my coordinating pay for another 6 months.
Oh,
and
wow.
oh, by the way, neither one of them were retro.
Oh man.
I love that they just conveniently hired him and promoted him every time there was a hiring freeze.
Yeah.
So
So instead of them paying me, I was paying them.
Oh.
I
Wow.
don't think any coach ever wants to do the math of hours worked per dollars earned.
gosh.
I think I mentioned in my book, I think I made, so like $7,000 or $10,000 my first 7 years. It wasn't enough to live on.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
That's crazy. So you're at Toledo with Gary, and for a decade there, he's just building this consistent winner. Playing, and it was hard to make bowl games back then when you're in the MAC,
Yeah.
but was able to play in some. And what stood out about those years and just your own development?
Well, I think it was after 4 years being the offensive line coach there.
Yeah.
The offensive coordinator left, and Gary promoted me to be the offensive coordinator. We'd had some success there, but there was a period in time where we had to have. They wanted more. And
Yeah.
so it was pivotal. We lost in 1994, the last game of the year on the last play of the game. Charlie Batch throws a touchdown pass. We lose and go 6-4-1 that year. It would have been 7-3-1, I think. Played pretty well offensively, but, they wanted more. Well, the next year we went undefeated.
Yeah.
And went to the Las Vegas Bowl, won the first overtime game when they implemented overtime back in the bowl system. And then, finished ranked in the country. And then our last year there, we were 10-1, finished the season ranked in the top 20,
Yeah.
and didn't get a bowl bid.
Yeah.
Because only one bowl bid at that time for the Mid-American Conference. And then that's when we knew it was time to make a change. And
Yeah.
that's when we had an opportunity to come to the University of Missouri.
And so obviously Gary made that change. So Gary got the job here. Had he been talking to you about that the whole time? Was it if I go, you come with me? Can you tell us about how that conversation went?
Yeah. So he had. We actually thought a year or two earlier we were going to go to the University of Washington.
Oh yeah.
wow.
I was told by a couple of pretty prominent boosters that the decision was made. Gary's going to go there. I knew, my relationship with Gary that I was going to go wherever he went. It would have been nice to get back to the Northwest, but. Certainly not disappointed in how our careers went by coming to Missouri.
Yeah.
But I knew I was going to go with him, and he didn't talk a lot about job opportunities. I was with him at one time a year or so earlier in the car, right when cell phones started to become a thing. Remember those big boxes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like a suitcase.
And he was on a phone call turning down the Minnesota job.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so then I knew, that he'd looking at some other places, but
Yeah.
he didn't talk any about these opportunities to us through that entire season. And then, I think it was Thanksgiving night when he called and said, "Hey, I was offered the job at the University of Missouri," and I'm like, "Okay, well, when do we leave?"
Did you have any impressions of Mizzou at the time, or
No, I really
initial
didn't.
thoughts, yeah.
I didn't know a lot about him. I'd seen him on film a little bit that year. Must have had a common opponent.
yeah?
So I had I knew a little bit about it, but no, I didn't know much about Missouri at the time.
Yeah. And then you guys get here, and what are your thoughts? Like, oh, we're in for a big challenge here, or we can win here, or what? What do you
It
think
was
when you-
exciting when we got here,
Yeah.
and then we looked at the roster. I just remember one scholarship cornerback.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, this paints the whole story. Is our last game at Missouri, we beat Bowling Green, and I don't know, 50-something to 14.
Yeah.
I mean, we crushed them. It was
Last game at Toledo.
last
Yeah,
game at
yeah,
Toledo. It
yeah.
was Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, national televised game, I think, and we crushed them.
Yeah.
Second game at Missouri, we play that same Bowling Green team, and we can't beat them.
Didn't go great. Yeah.
And I remember talking to my wife because I was lucky enough to get the post-game show. It used to be at Buffalo Wild Wings,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And I go, honey, I don't know if I got this in me. This place, I mean, we were better at every position.
Yeah.
She goes, well, you better find it because you just moved your family here.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was, we had some work cut out for us, but our time in Missouri, in fact, our son still lives here with my two granddaughters. It ended up being phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was a struggle early on. We had to, rebuild and, build a culture and an attitude and make a lot of changes that way. And it was up and down, but certainly, that 2007, 2008 year
Oh, yeah.
were years to be remembered.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've had as potent of offense since then.
Not many places have,
I
yeah.
think we scored 42 points a game my last year here.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've been able to do that since anywhere I've been.
Well, and so it took a few years, like it normally does, to get on that roll, to get on that run, to reach that 2007-8 team. What was recruiting like? What was the turning point that made you realize, okay, this is actually going to happen? Like, was there a recruit? Can you think back to a commit that you got and you're like, this is it? Like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started with Brad Smith.
Yeah.
Recruiting is all about evaluation, and we were big on development. We had to do it at Toledo. We certainly had to do it at Missouri.
Yeah.
A little different day and age in that you had an opportunity to bring guys in and develop them. But I think when people saw Brad Smith, I think that was the first sign, okay, these guys kind of have a clue what they're doing.
Right.
But recruiting's hard. It's not an exact science. And so, then we were able to sign Chase Daniel, and along with Chase were a lot of great players.
Yeah.
We had great success recruiting offensive linemen in the state of Missouri.
Yep.
In fact, we had a lot of offensive players. I'm not mistaken. We might have had 10 players on our team on offense that started at one time in 7 and 8 that were from the state of Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that was our first thing is that, hey, we've got to recruit Missouri kids. And, we had to build up some relationships in St. Louis area. Kansas City, I think, was pretty good. And Andy Hill had a good, hold on that. But we got after the Missouri kids, and obviously that's what helped build this thing. But, we started signing better players, not necessarily, I hate to even use the word, high star guys because
But they talk about it too. In my role, I've talked to plenty of alumni, and obviously Dave has with his previous career. They talk about that, they know it, and they embrace it. It was a bunch of 2 and 3 star guys from
But
either
they
Missouri
were-
or Texas.
Yeah. But here's the secret. They were better than a lot of 4 and 5 star guys.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the key.
Yeah.
It's not what recruiting services think. It's what what we did for a profession was to evaluate guys and then develop them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
we had great strength staffs here. We had great coaches here. We had all the pieces in place. But at the end of the day, you don't win without players, and those players were the difference.
Yeah. One of the and you touch on a lot in your book, but one of the kind of signature moments of Mizzou football and probably your career was after 2004 when kind of a setback season. You still got Brad Smith and you decide to change the offense and not just change it, but you just completely overhauled it. What went into that decision? What were your influences? And then what was that first conversation with Gary like?
You want to talk about a major fourth down?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we were at a fourth down, and we needed to go for it. It was interesting. We'd gone to a bowl, and then that year we didn't go to a bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I watched every bowl game. So I was at home in my basement. I hooked up 4 or 5 televisions at the time, boxes, not these flat screen things.
Yeah.
And I had every bowl game on. And I'm down there, I'm watching every team play, and I'm trying to study what different people are doing. And, the spread offense is being run. Bowling Green had ran it with some success.
Yeah.
Urban had taken that to Utah with them
Yep.
and had success. We had seen what they were continuing to do. Greg Brandon was doing at Bowling Green. Mike Leach was doing some things, throwing the ball at Texas Tech. And so I'm sitting down there, and finally my wife comes down. I said, we've got to change what we're doing offensively or we're going to get fired.
Yeah.
We don't have the guys that we had at Toledo to line up against. The guys we had there, we had better players than the rest of the league, and so we could
Right.
line up and do whatever we wanted. Here, that wasn't necessarily the case, and so we had to do something to give us a chance to be an equalizer. And I said, if we don't, we're going to get fired. I said, but Coach and Coach James' background, they don't like change. And, and she's like, well, if you don't, you're going to get fired. You probably better go in and talk to them. I said, well, so I studied it some more. And so we came back from break, which, it's unfortunate to have break if you're a coach at that time of the year.
Yeah.
But we were home, and so I went in, and I just, I said to Coach, I said, hey, Coach, I think we need to make a change offensively. And I want to go to a spread offense, and told him some of the things and the people were doing, and in credit to Gary, he said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then about a week later, I went in. I said, oh, by the way, I said, I don't ever want to huddle. And he goes, ever? I go, never. I said, I want to play fast, and we want to spread them out, and we want to use space to our advantage. I think we can recruit skilled players. We can develop linemen we have. Obviously, we've got to have quarterback. We had Brad Smith at the time, just signing Chase Daniel. So we were getting those pieces together, some great tight ends and receivers. We always had 1,000-yard rushers. And so Coach said, go for it. And we scrapped the playbook from page 1 all the way through, started at scratch, and put it in. And, it started to work our first year. We didn't have all the pieces in place, but we got enough to get back into a bowl game, which was crucial. And but then there was another crucial fourth down in my career. We played in the Independence Bowl that year, and we were down by 3 touchdowns, I think, in the first half, and it wasn't looking good. And once again, there were not a lot of happy campers out there with the performance of our offense and our defense, but we came back.
Yeah.
And we won that game. In fact, ran a trick play. I was able to get Spurrier to throw his visor on the ground and stomp on it when I lined up in the Daffy Duck formation, and Brad riding right up the middle on him. And so that was kind of a turning point. The next year we had Brad again, but we had Chase. We played Chase in every game. Brad was the guy. 2 crucial fourth down moments in my career that year against Iowa when Brad got hurt. Chase came in and took us back to a victory, and then a crucial fourth down play when Brad Smith house called against Baylor. To give us a couple of wins to get us into another bowl game. Got down to El Paso, and I think we would have won the game had we not had 22 guys with the flu.
Yeah, that was rough.
That was.
I was gonna say
We did.
Yeah, that was. Oh my
22
goodness.
guys and Andy Hill.
Yeah, and Andy Hill. He was laying on the ground. Couldn't even coach. He was so sick. And so, we got through that the next year. Obviously 2007, Chase had a great year. Heisman candidate. The next year, once again, great success offensively. And so, that was quite a turning point.
07, in the midst of it, could you take an appreciation for what was happening, or are you just grinding again that
Oh my
you
gosh,
can't?
I was just gonna ask
Oh,
that.
well,
It's
minds.
funny, you guys, because I've talked about it a lot in the last couple of years when I visit with people about, your coaching career. You never have time to enjoy it until it's over and it's behind you, right? Like, no matter how well you're doing, we had a great year in 2007, but 2008 starts the next day.
Yep.
And so in the coaching profession, when I wrote the book, I was able to go back. I pulled up a lot of Mizzou scores and looked up and read, write-ups on them, because, you had a couple hours when you got home, and if it was a night game,
Right.
you had enough time to have 2 beers, and it was time to go to bed because you had to come back next morning and do it again.
Yeah.
How many of those write-ups were by Dave Matter?
Just the good ones. Just the good ones.
They were mostly just they weren't news reports. I was just reading the write-ups afterwards.
He was reading the hot takes.
I just wanted to know the stats and the games and what were the big plays. Kind of remind me what the big plays were and that type of thing. But that was quite a time changing that offense around.
Okay, so one play we do want to ask you about, because it's like it really opens up your book, which is awesome. I love that you centered it around this. It is a pretty big fourth down play. Fastball, quads left, spark left. When you hear that, because you wrote it, you dialed it up. What's that bring back to mind?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go a little deeper into the play.
Okay.
So and again, I talk about a lot of this stuff in the book. Preparation is the P in adapt the A is let's see here, attitude, discipline, and attention to detail in preparation is the next A. And so we decided on the fourth down call earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Okay, so every scenario was looked at during the week and studied, and then the plays were all chosen then. Sometimes you get too much credit for being a play caller. Really, you're a great play caller if your players execute the plays. That's what makes you a great play caller. But we game planned in advance and prepared our players, and they studied and were ready to go. So, our 4th and 1, 4th and 2 call on our game sheet was quads left, spark left. Okay, we knew we were going to run that play. So I think Temple ran the ball on the play before. I think it was either Temple or I think it was Tony Temple. We get tackled on the 2-yard line. So now it was 3rd down, and we ran. Now it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2. And Gary says, "What do you want to do?" And I said, without a doubt, I said, the players weren't coming off.
Yeah.
They were looking at us, just give us the play. And because, in their preparation, in their attitudes, in their discipline, I mean, they did all these things. They're ready to run the play. They know what's coming. They've practiced it. So we get in 4 receivers to our left with our 2 big tight ends. And so what happens on the play, it's a screen to Rucker coming in, but we get 350-pound Monte Wyrick out in front. And then Chase Kaufman kicking out the guy on Ruck, and Ruck basically catches the ball and flies into the end zone. It was just a screen pass, but we had planned in advance for that, and so I called the play, and I know Coach ain't going to admit to this, but this was kind of a habit by Gary.
Yeah.
Is that our best call? No, I'm saving it.
Yeah. Saving it for the bowl game.
And I'm probably I was probably the same way as head coach. They make the 4th down. Is that our best call? Well, it was our best call. I mean, we decided that on Wednesday, and so that was and that's what starts the book. That was a pivotal 4th down in my career. There've been many, but certainly, we wouldn't have won that game. We don't score that touchdown, or if we kick a field goal there, and so that propelled me into being a candidate for the Broyles Award that year. Obviously, get me on a lot of lists with the ability to finally get a head coaching job, and so it was very, very another very pivotal 4th down.
Yeah, so much momentum can swing on one play.
Yeah.
The game, the confidence, the crowd, your career, it's wild. So it's a great moment to kind of base it around.
Yeah, because I was going to say, 6, 7, 8, like you had to start getting some looks and some calls and getting headhunted a little bit for some head coaching jobs. At what point did you want to make that a reality?
I had only, in the 17 years I worked for Coach Pinkel, I had only interviewed for head coaching jobs.
Oh, wow.
Never talked to another person about a position job or a coordinating job. And so I had a couple opportunities that year. I think I interviewed at Washington State and maybe Central Michigan for their head coaching job. Didn't work out. That was in 7. And then in 8, I was pretty certain that, I was going to have an opportunity to get a head coaching job. And so, I didn't, I loved being at Missouri. It was great for our family to be here. I made enough money to, send my kids to college and so we didn't get into the business for the money anyhow. And so, we were comfortable here. We had, Coach Pinkel had always been loyal to me. I was always going to be loyal to him. I wanted to be a head coach, though. I did want to be a head coach. And so when those opportunities came, he was very, very supportive of them. And so, my next goal, if it was going to happen, was to be a head coach, or I was going to stay at Missouri.
Yeah. I think that speaks for that staff and Gary, too. You didn't see guys leaving to go lateral jobs. They stuck around unless there was something where if you're a tight ends coach, you get a coordinator position, or a coordinator get a head coaching position, and that continuity. And we say it all the time. And we had it when we had Andy in here. I mean, it was pretty rare for back then, and incredibly rare for now.
I don't know that it can ever happen again. I think we were all together for 16, 17 years without anybody leaving. That just doesn't happen anymore. And it's because you need to win now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're paying a lot more money now. So with the money comes the expectations. And certainly there were expectations then, but they were just a little more patient. You know, you think about Mike Alden and how he stuck with us when a lot of people probably might not have.
Yeah.
You know, Mike was very loyal to Gary and our staff and believed in what we were doing, gave us the opportunity because now, it took about 5 years really to get it rolling. They don't give guys that long anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to do it the right way. But here's the other thing. If you have enough money, you can do it in a hurry now.
That's
right?
true.
Yes.
There you go.
Ask Indiana.
Yep.
Wow, it's tough, because we were talking about this before we started recording. The fans start getting a little chirpy.
Yes,
they
do.
The public, they feel emboldened now with all of their channels and avenues to share their opinions.
Investments,
And
yeah.
like they can just sit and be little keyboard warriors and
Yeah.
just tear everything down.
Yeah, it's certainly a different world. Social media has not helped because you can print anything, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be factual, and that was the thing that was always important to me. Is you can write anything you want, just research and report the facts, and that's not the case anymore. Anybody can put anything out there, start rumors, and it's just a different world.
Yeah.
But they're getting paid enough to be able to live in that world. If I was making $1 million as a coordinator or $2 million, I would have learned to live with it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so 2008, Missouri's getting ready for the Alamo Bowl, and you've got job opportunity. And I'll give Dave credit. He promised me that if he gets a head coaching job, he'd tell me first.
Did
so
he?
I think I did break the story before anybody else.
You did.
So
Oh, look at you making friends.
yeah, maybe it'll one of these days it's gonna. I'll take this career somewhere. So no, but you get the Wyoming job. What went into that decision? Why was that the right timing fit for you after that 08 season?
I got that job too when we were getting ready to play Kansas that year.
Oh yeah.
So that week they'd flown in, I'd interviewed, and then Friday morning before we left to go to Kansas to play that game, I had accepted the job.
Okay.
Turned it over to my agent, did all my stuff with the team, went to Kansas City. When I got to Kansas City, I went to my room, I turned my phone on, and it's a message from the AD that, sorry, we couldn't work things out. We're going a different direction. Apparently my agent at the time said it wasn't a good enough deal. We had to, and so I called the AD, and I'm like, leave him a message. I will take the job no matter what the situation is. I want the job. I'd visited with San Diego State, New Mexico at that time, but Wyoming was going to make the first decision.
Yeah.
I'd interviewed 3 other times for head coaching jobs, didn't get them. I believed in what we were doing, that I could go up there and implement our program, turn it around. And so then before we go to dinner, or slightly after dinner might have been, then I get a call back, okay, all right, you can. We're going to bring you in.
Yeah.
You got the job. After your game tomorrow night, we'll have a plane there to fly you up to Wyoming.
Yeah.
And so.
You and your new agent.
No. So my wife and I and the kids, we lost, unfortunately. It was funny. We were playing Kansas. We just scored, and I go, we just scored too early. There was like 1:40 to go.
Yeah.
We lose the game, and then we got to run out and get a ride over to the airport, and they had a private plane, took us up to Wyoming, and accepted the Wyoming job.
Yeah.
Flew back the next day, went to the banquet, and then started game planning for the bowl game, then flew back up and started recruiting, hiring a staff, and then flew back and practiced for the bowl game. And I mean, it was a whirlwind at that point in time. But Dave Yost, took charge of a lot of things, and we were able to win the Alamo Bowl against Northwestern, and before I was moved on up to Wyoming.
Yeah.
So when in that process did you tell Gary? When did he know that this was happening?
As soon as I had the interview, I always kept him in the loop of what was going on. So yeah, when they were going to interview, I'd let them know that, hey, I'm going to interview for the Wyoming job, and yeah. So
That was a big offseason because that's when Coach Eberflus left also. And
Yeah.
it was like unheard of for Gary to have staff turnover. So I just remember, and now it's it's every week in college football.
Right. Oh, and then rumors
Staffs-
fly like, what's
yeah.
going on with his staff? Why is everybody leaving?
Yeah, so they're getting opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it was So we were the first two to leave in a long time.
What'd you take away from your years at Wyoming? You guys went to some bowl games. You did some successful things. Not the easiest place to win.
Yeah, it was tough.
No doubt.
You'd recruit, then you'd re-recruit for them to stay every year.
Yeah.
It was hard to get kids to stay there. I mean, I can't imagine it being there now because if you have any success at all, they're gone. We had a kid I recruited as a true freshman out of Dallas. Nobody recruited him. He came, he played for me as a true freshman, went to our bowl game, was there one quarter, and then left, walked on at TCU, and was a first-round draft pick.
Just never know.
And we knew he was a good player, but we had a number of those players went on to play major Division I places. It was just a tough place to recruit, but we went to bowls in 2 of our first 3 years. Literally had a couple injuries away from going to bowl games in year 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and that's when you talk about it's a game of a play or two. It was literally a play or two, and we would have been in 4 bowl games.
Yeah.
We had a tremendous staff there. 4 of those guys are coaching in the NFL. Coach Harding is now the line coach at Michigan, assistant head coach there. Alex Grinch is still coaching. A lot of those guys went on. Jason Ray had great success.
Yeah.
So we had a great coaching staff. Went to a couple bowls. Had the highest GPA and APR rate in football history there. Our players were well behaved, did things right on and off the field. You got to go to bowls every year, or it's not good enough.
Yeah. What'd you so you move on from there, and you had some stops back in the power conferences as coordinator roles and assistant roles. How did you did you have to change your mindset, your approach when you go from calling the shots for 5 years as a head coach to being a coordinator? But you had all the experience as a head coach,
Right.
though, so that had to pay off in some ways.
Yeah, it did. Because places I was at, if they wanted to bounce things off me, great. I didn't want to force myself on anybody. Joined Kyle Whittingham at Utah that next year, and they'd had some struggles there, and they needed to go to a bowl game to continue on. And so went there as an offensive coordinator. We won 9 games. Went to the Las Vegas Bowl, won that, and then had an opportunity to go to Texas A&M. And my thought process at that time was, if I'm getting older in my coaching career, you'd like to win a national title.
Right.
It's going to be hard to win one at Utah.
Yeah.
But Texas A&M's got everything in place except for one thing, unfortunately the leader, to win a national title. And so that's why I took that step and went there. And then we had a place in Arizona I'd bought when I was at Wyoming. And so we moved back to Arizona. I went over to ASU, just seeing if I could volunteer, and that turned into a full-time job there. So my last 4 years, I coached at Arizona State. I knew I wanted to retire in Arizona.
Yeah.
And so, I just walked away from it. Then I got bored after 2 years of retirement, and of all places, took a job coaching in the European League of Football in Poland in the summers. So I spent 5 months in the summer over there, and that was an interesting experience. Again, I took over a program that had really struggled in our first year in the league of 17 teams. We made it in the top 6, made the playoffs. And it had its challenges. They don't play a lot of football in Poland, and 90% of your team has to be local. You get 4 Americans. So that was quite an experience. But then, after a couple of years, I just wanted to be back in the States. If I was going to do something, I wanted to do it in the United States because I love our country and living here. And so came back from that and, started doing some consulting, wrote the book.
Yep.
I do a lot of speaking engagements. I do some keynote speaking. I do some workshops on, your 4th down, why you need to go for it, my adapt game plan. And so that's worked out well, and I enjoy doing that. And, hopefully I get a chance to come back to Missouri and share some of these stories and do some keynote talks, some, possibly some workshops, those type of things for businesses, teams, leaders in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, that's great. I love reading about leaders and leadership and just taking as much as I can. You're exposed to different coaches, different coaching styles after your time as a head coach, and we're not going to knock on anybody that you worked for, but did you have any more appreciation for what you guys had here and the culture and the leadership with Gary and then how he empowered you guys to run that program when you see it at other places where maybe it's not as good?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that I believe in and have had success with are things that, I learned from Coach Pinkel and early on from Coach James. Jim Harding, who's now at Michigan, played for us at Toledo, coached here at Missouri, took him to Wyoming, took him to Utah. This is the stuff he believes in. Now, he's been fortunate. He spent 11, 12 years with Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah.
Kyle is another excellent coach. And so he's been blessed to be around, Coach Pinkel's philosophy, but also Coach Whittingham's philosophy. And I was able to, learn some things also working with Kyle and have great appreciation for how he's done things. But certainly, his influence and Coach Pinkel's influence, those are programs ran the way that they need to be ran to have great success.
For sure.
Well, I mean, on the flip side of that, looking back, what are you most grateful to your family for? Like, what are some things that, if there's a specific incident or a story or a memory that you have that, man, I'm really lucky that I had them when that happened?
Yeah, it's, for us, it was our life. And so, my kids lived it every single day. It's funny. My kids all graduated from Rockbridge.
Yeah.
And, and there were some tough times while we were here. And one year, my daughter was in a class. They're going around the classroom and asking, what your father does for a living. And they get to her and, okay, Katie Christensen, what's your dad do? He's a banker.
Wow.
Because she didn't want to, because my son would go to school, during football season. His Mondays would all be based upon how we did. Yeah. And so, they're in it, but they're involved in the program. They would be at practices, bowl games. The great thing working for Coach Pinkel, I did the same thing. We didn't work late at night. We went home when practice was over. And so I was home every night with my family, to have dinner and put them to bed and be involved. We work smarter, not longer, and efficiently. And but you can ask any of my three kids; they have all great memories of growing up as a coach's kid, because they lived it and it was a part of their lives. Yeah. And so it was certainly a family affair for us.
Yeah, this industry it'd be hard on marriages. I mean, there's no
absolutely.
doubt. We see it all the time, and even my wife, when we got to know you and Susie, like always looked up to you guys as like they made it work, and like look, because they're always together. Susie was with you all the time, so supportive. How you kind of touched on a little bit, but just how much is that part of your story? Is the support you had with and they were all in too.
Yeah.
They were all in every job you had.
Yeah, they were, and obviously I think Susan and I have been married to be 40 years this summer.
Wow.
And football's been a part of it the whole way. But, right after Christmas, it was Susie and I and my two daughters flew up to up to Vegas to go to Utah's bowl game.
Yeah.
Last weekend, I flew my son out to San Jose, and he and I went to the Super Bowl. So there's football in their blood. I mean, they still love, the sport and the people that we've met along the way. We go support our friends in the coaching profession. And, it's just been a real positive part of our lives. And they've been all in 100% the whole way. And I'm very, very fortunate. You're right. It's tough in this business. Most marriages, not most, but a lot don't make it because of the commitment to it. But I think if you go about it the right way, and I was the same way when I was a head coach at Wyoming, my coaches had to leave by 6 p.m. every night. They had to be out of the building. Yeah. And they had to be home helping with the kids. And we got there early in the morning, but they had to be out the door by 6 o'clock because family was always first.
That's great. Yeah. Okay, so how did you decide to write a book? How'd you go about it? It's really good. I love it. But how'd you get into this?
Well, I started my speaking business. I have a friend. He's actually a Missouri graduate, Craig Can.
Sure. Yeah.
And so
Oh,
Craig
Craig.
flew out and worked with me for a couple days a year and a half ago about telling my story. And, I have a unique story in my background, where I came from, where I got to. And, and I thought I had some things that I could share that could give other people, hope and a path to have success in life. I always figured if growing up a block down from the housing projects, a block up from the train tracks, being the first in my family to graduate, struggling in school my whole life, having major setbacks early in my life, if I could, end up with a college degree, a master's degree, and a head coach in a major Division I college football program, and have the success that I had, anybody could put these principles to work and have success in life. And so I wanted to share that story. And so, Craig worked with me on how to do that and how to tell it. And then after he left, I put together, my presentations and my keynotes. And then I just took those things and I said, you know what, I'm going to write this. I'm going to write a book. And I literally started writing the book in January, and we published it in May.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tell us quickly about the ADAPT and what that stands for, and how somebody outside of coaching or football can learn from it.
Yeah, so the ADAPT game plan is these are the things that were most important to me to be successful in life. And the first one is the A is for attitude. And, the great thing about attitude is, we wake up every day and get to decide on the attitude we have. And, nobody wants to be around that person with a negative attitude. We don't want to, have to work next to a desk next to Debbie Downer, right? And so, attitude is free. It's a choice. Wake up every day, no matter your circumstance, your situation, and choose to have a positive attitude. And then the second one is the D is for discipline. And discipline was kind of like my kryptonite. I was limited in a lot of areas, but I could push myself, and I would push myself early in life much further than other people would to give me a chance to be successful. And I've never seen really a successful person, organization, or team that lacked discipline. And so I'm a firm believer that, discipline is a crucial part of anybody's being. And so that's the second part of ADAPT. Then the next one is attention to detail and preparation. I've always planned ahead. I always believed in having a plan. I've told my coaches early on, don't prepare for your next step when the interview comes. Be prepared when it comes.
Yeah.
And so I prepared to be an offensive coordinator for 3 or 4 years before I became a coordinator. And the same thing to be a head coach. And so when that opportunity came, I'd already planned and prepared for it. And so, having a plan of attack and whatever it is in life you want to achieve, I think goal setting is part of that. That's a big part of it. It's always been a big part of my life. I still do it to this day. Even if it's a checklist of things I got to get done, they're goals for the day.
Yeah.
Just having a plan of attack. And then, the P is for perseverance. And the thing is everybody in life is going to have failure.
Yeah.
It's a part of life, right? Like we're going to have fourth down situations. You're going to go for it. It doesn't guarantee you're going to make it. There's going to be setbacks, and so the ability to understand that and persevere. And so I talk about turn your setbacks into comebacks and be prepared to persevere in life, because you're going to have failures. And if you live life with those principles, you score touchdowns in life, and that's what the T is. So that's pretty much what the ADAPT game plan is.
Love it.
That's
Love
awesome.
All right. Okay, we're going to go into our final.
Yep, rapid fire.
Okay, we got 5 quick rapid fire questions. And the podcast, so you're ready for this. All right, are you odds or evens?
Oh my God, can I be odds? Because I want to steal your number 5.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. All right. Best meal in Columbia.
Well, I was there last night at Murray's, and but I will never forget. Was it Alexander Steakhouse when we
Yes,
first got
Jay.
here?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, how that place could have ever left and not been brought
Cook
back
your own
somewhere else.
steaks?
But I go to Murray's every time I'm here.
What do you get?
Last night I had the French dip. Have to have the French fries. Got to have the pepper rings
Oh, yeah. The green peppers. Yeah. With the powdered sugar.
with the powdered sugar. Yeah, but they got great wings. They got great salads. Believe me, I've had a lot of Murray's food.
Starving. Okay. All right. Best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I've ever live by the golden rule.
By whom? Who do you remember?
I don't remember told to me, but it's pretty simple, and I
Somebody.
use it a lot, today, right? Just do unto others as you'd want them to do unto you.
All right.
All right, bucket list vacation spot.
Oh, man. Last summer I hit one, took a cruise to Alaska.
All right.
So cool.
The Super Bowl was a bucket list kind of vacation with my son we went on. I've been a lot of places. I don't really have a bucket list. You know what I've learned to really like to do now is go on cruises.
Okay.
So I was on one the first 10-day one the first part of December. I was on one last summer. I'm going to go Boston to Nova Scotia this
wow.
summer. I like cruises because you got the all-inclusive vacation that moves,
Yeah.
right? You're not stationary.
There you go. Okay.
So
All right. Who was the best player you coached at Mizzou that didn't get enough credit?
the best player that I coached at Mizzou.
Maybe underrated. I don't know how we
Oh,
phrase
my
that.
goodness,
I wrote the
there
question.
were so many.
It should have got more attention.
I don't want to pick one because if they listen to this podcast,
Everyone listens, so we know that.
And I love those kids. I mean, I think they're all underrated and didn't
Yeah.
get enough. We had great kids. Can I bounce to another quick story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Storytellers.
I'm at Wyoming, and Tim Barnes is getting married, get invited to the wedding, so we fly. Susan and I fly down, we go to the wedding, okay?
Yeah.
So we go to the church, they have the wedding, we're walking out to go to the reception, and I'm walking with all the old linemen, and they're talking, and one of them says, yeah, remember when we didn't like Coach C at this point? And I turn, I go, you guys didn't like me? My wife's laughing her head off. They're going, well, it was, but again, I'm at the wedding, so
Right.
They must have got over it. But I'm like, what do you mean you didn't like me?
That's good. All right.
All right. 4th and goal from the 5. Brad or Chase, and what are you calling?
If it's Brad Smith, I'm going to run him because he cannot get tackled, and we're going to spread it out and make space. If it's Chase Daniel, I'm probably going to throw a slant route, which I might have done that and hit Macklin to win the Alamo Bowl on
Maybe.
from that same area.
There you go. No fullback, no under center.
I wouldn't say that. Okay, with those two, probably not.
Yeah.
But when I got over to Europe, guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got back into lining up and smashing people because they just wanted to throw the ball and they couldn't stop the run.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it all evolves.
But it all depends on who your quarterback is. We're going to evolve the offense to who the quarterback is.
There you go. All right. Name of the game. Okay. Final step. Got your photo. This is a Mizzou circa photo. I think you hit the Peloton a little bit more often these days.
I do.
Well, I know. I'm crediting him. He looks great.
I do hit the Peloton a little more often.
Saying.
Oh,
we
my
didn't
goodness.
want to put like an Arizona. We didn't.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't want to put an Arizona State picture up there or a Utah.
And then you get to take the push pin and go put it
Oh, that's awesome.
on the board. Feel
That
free
is awesome.
to
You
come
coached from the box, didn't you? Here.
I did coach from the
So we don't
box.
have a lot of photos of you on game day because you're up there
And I'm
calling
trying
plays.
to get it for social media and different things.
You and Yost, be careful. This thing is very wobbly. Anywhere you want. We're running out of room. Under another Husky, Will Cava, right there.
There we go.
Awesome.
That's great. Thank you, guys.
Well, Dave, this was great. I'm so glad we were able to do this, and 'cause you got such a great stories from a really pivotal, celebrated time in Mizzou, not just football history, but Mizzou athletics history.
Yeah.
I get
you're right at the
asked
center for
all
of
the
it.
time, where's the greatest place you ever coached? And without a doubt, it's Missouri.
Yeah.
And for a number of reasons. First of all, the relationships. Second of all, because what we took over and what we built it to was the greatest success in my coaching career.
Yeah. And we mentioned the 07 Kansas game, and I know you maybe in the moment you can't enjoy it as much as you could, but looking back, you almost feel like had you guys kept winning and won the national championship, I don't know if the celebration, if the joy could have been the same as it was that night in
No.
Kansas
That
City.
was the greatest
was so
night of my coaching career.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, you guys, that was spectacular. And thank God I was calling the plays in the press box because it was the coldest
It was
night
cold.
It was very
I
cold.
ever
Nasty.
remember coaching.
Because you made it down on the field afterwards. I remember seeing you, and you guys were just like on
Funny,
cloud
I don't
nine.
remember being very cold as a fan there.
Oh, well. Might have had some pregame preparations for that.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Well, this was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Yeah.
guys for having me on. It's great to be back.
Yes.
Everybody
And,
buy the book.
Yes,
You can buy it on
congratulations on the
Amazon.
book.
Where else
Yeah.
can you find
you can
it?
get it on Amazon. You can go to coachchristensen.com, and you can find it on my website there. But you can go to Amazon and get the book. Write a review on it. Would help me out, and I'm easy to get a hold of. If you go to coachchristensen.com, if you could use me to come out and talk to your company, your business, your team.
Awesome.
All right, everybody support Coach C.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
It's
Thank
great
you.
being here.
This episode of Mizzou Storytellers on the Inside Mizzou Athletics podcast is brought to you by Shelter Insurance. Ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction for auto insurance in the Central Region by J.D. Power 5 out of the last 6 years. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Dave Christensen.
What a guy.
What a great guy.
That is only the second time I have interacted with him.
Oh, really?
But he was just as friendly and personable as he was the first.
Yeah, I really fortunate to get to know him really well when he was coaching here, and then even after he left. He was talking about Murray's, and it reminded me. So years ago, Molly and I go into Murray's for dinner, and Dave and his wife Susie, who's awesome. We should have had her. She should have been here as a guest. They're sitting in one of those tables right at the door, waiting
Yes.
for their table. But we sat with them for like a half hour and talked. And I don't think Molly had met them before, and really hit it off. But they were waiting for another couple.
Okay.
They were waiting for Tony and soon to be Jamie Palmer to meet them
Oh,
for
TP.
dinner because that night Tony had proposed to Jamie.
Oh.
So they were going to celebrate by going and meeting, Coach C and his wife for dinner. So we got to see Tony right after he had proposed.
That's so
and
cool.
so that just jogged my memory when
I feel like maybe TP fits that bill. That question we asked earlier, like a Mizzou player who didn't get enough credit.
And you know what? In Coach's book, which I have read, he's got lots of testimonials from former players, and there's a couple of different parts from Tony Palmer in here.
Such a good dude.
Elvis Fisher, Tony Palmer's
Yep.
in here. He mentioned Jim Harding, who didn't play here, but he did coach here, and now is at Michigan, and lots of familiar names. Jason Ray's in here
Yeah.
a few times, and really, really good stuff.
Well, it's also really cool to me because that was my era. That was my Mizzou
Yeah.
era. Like I got here in 2001 when they did. So.
Yeah, and he's not kidding. That staff down on the field for the Kansas game in 2007. I remember Dave specifically was like in tears because it just meant so much, and because they knew they were going to number one the next time the polls came out. They knew they had a shot. They were in the SEC Big 12 championship game, but also knew that then they have an opportunity to play for a national championship. I don't think that was on their mind, but they also just ruined Kansas' dream season.
It was so number 1 versus number 2, and
Yeah.
just the biggest rivalry ever.
Yeah,
Like just all the stars aligned to make that game. So
I think it was 2
amazing.
versus 3 because
Oh, we were 1 versus-
LSU was
2 versus-
1.
It was 2 versus 3, and then we
Right,
jumped
because
to number
LSU
1
had
with the win.
lost earlier
That
to
is correct.
Arkansas, so that knew that the winner would get to number one.
number 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, what a day.
Oh, that was so cool.
Okay, so what else? You've got some topics listed. You have Valentine's Day. Is that coming up?
I didn't put Valentine's Day. Did you?
No.
Oh.
Who has
Did I?
access to our file? You
No,
did.
just me. I don't. It's
it's
been a really
it's 3
long,
days away.
It's been a really long week. She says on Wednesday. So
Do you guys do anything for Valentine's Day?
it's hit or miss. I think we've talked about Dave Jones's gift giving prowess on
Not
here
great.
before.
Not great.
It's not, his reputation isn't stellar. But for years and years, he always made me chocolate covered strawberries.
He made them?
He made them like with the
Wow.
chocolate drizzle and everything. And it's been really cute. It, obviously, with kids, it just doesn't stay as consistent. It's tougher. But the few times that he has done it since we've had the kids, it's fun because they help. And they are very interesting because our kids love sprinkles
Oh,
of
yeah.
any kind, any variety. And they use those little, like, kind of clear crystal sprinkles. You know,
Not
it's like
familiar.
the blue or whatever, like blue, green, not the little, like,
I don't know.
rod-shaped ones.
I
You
don't
don't, you
know.
guys, sugar-free household, I'm sure.
No,
You
I just
know
don't
anything about
make.
this.
I don't make the sprinkles.
But yeah, but they put them on there and it makes it kind of crunchy.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, these are so good.
Well, I think we're not a big Valentine's Day couple because our anniversary's in January. Christmas is in December. Come on. I mean,
And you just, yeah.
it's too much at once.
My younger brother.
Molly does make a nice like stuff for the kids. You know,
I usually try to do something cool for the kids. They've been I was way ahead of the game this year. They've had their Valentine's bags for their classes done since last week. And their Valentine's boxes are done.
because they don't have school on Friday, so
They do
they
not
had
have
them
school
a
on Friday,
day
so it's all
early.
tomorrow.
I helped Will Matter make his box over the weekend.
Yeah, Logan is very upset because her teacher has decided they will all make Valentine's bags together as a class tomorrow. Which, as a mom, I'm all for.
Sure,
That sounds
great.
great. I'll buy you some doilies and stickers and glitter pens, and you have at it at school. But she is a little upset about that. But yeah, I'll get something for the kids. This year, actually, my younger brother's coming in town this weekend.
nice.
He just wanted to get away, so we're going to go to the basketball game. I think we might go to the Mizzou hockey game on Friday night.
Those
Jeff
tickets
City.
are really hard to get.
Oh,
They sell
noted.
out very quickly.
So I don't think we will be going to
Because
the
the
Mizzou
capacity, I
hockey
was
game.
just talking to a friend. The capacity is at the arena where they play in Jeff City is like a couple hundred.
Okay, so it will surprise no one to know that this was Dave's idea
Okay.
to go to this game. So I'm pretty sure he has not
Secured tickets.
secured tickets or looked into this.
Okay.
So
Just-
we have
just a warning because I've wanted to go and
we have hopes of going to the hockey game
Okay.
on Friday night.
okay. Mizzou lacrosse is coming up soon. I know we were supposed to promote our varsity NCAA teams, but it is nice to support the club teams as well. And
Absolutely.
I love going out to the Mizzou lacrosse games over at Stankowski, and their season's coming up too.
They're dropping like flies at my house. I only have one left that wants to do lacrosse this spring.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We started with 3, and then we went to 2, and now it's just 1.
It's a tough sport.
It is tough, and it's funny because it's the one that you wouldn't think.
Who?
Amelia.
Oh, really?
She's the only one that
She'll
wants to
get
keep
after
doing
it.
lacrosse.
She'll get after it.
She's been doing winter lacrosse, and she does get after it. She's got an aggressive streak in her
Yeah.
because normally she's not. She's just like real chill. She's a people pleaser. She's like my empath, the one that can tell when you're
Okay.
not feeling good or you're upset.
I
and she
could
wants to
see
give you
that.
a hug. But you get her out on the lacrosse field, and she, first of all, is crazy fast.
I could see that.
And second of all, has no problem like knocking into people because with the girls they can only hit each other when the ball's on the ground.
Oh, yeah, they can't.
And
it's not as
she
much
will go in
contact.
and just throw a shoulder. She'll take a girl out.
Nice.
I'm here for it. As long
Okay.
as it's not her sister, I'm good.
Well, speaking of strong women, we went to the WIN breakfast, Women's
Women's
Women's Intersport Network ceremony. It's usually a lunch. This year was a breakfast, and we had I think six nominees from Mizzou Athletics. Really nice event. Always a great event put on by a lot of special people to recognize people throughout the community who either female athletes, coaches, mentors, supporters, just advocates of women's sports, and it's I think this was the 29th
Yes.
annual ceremony. So very cool. There are no losers. There were some winners, but man, it was neat to be there.
It is cool. And, like you said, no losers because they bring up everybody and they tell
Yeah.
you why those people were nominated. So
Right.
it's not like they just read a list of names and then they announce the winner. Like you find out and you hear how amazing all of these people are.
Right. And anybody who didn't win, the voting was rigged. So that's just.
Speaking
how
of
we look at
which, our very own Marcy Girton was nominated and did not
That's
win.
right.
Robbed.
Yeah.
But she told us that she had listened to 2 of our episodes.
That's right.
She listened and she was quite impressed with how amazing we were.
Well,
And so we strongly encouraged her to pick a day to be on the podcast.
now that
So-
she's a loyal listener,
Yep,
we know she's listening to this episode,
absolutely.
and we can get her in here and learn more about her.
Yeah. I cannot wait. We're going to do it.
Well, yeah.
We're going to
yeah.
make it happen. So I got Andy Lutz. I need you to get Marcy Girton.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we can even go to her office,
Let's just
plug in some microphones, not even tell her.
No,
Just start
what
having
was-
a conversation. Midway through, she'll realize she's on
what
the
were
podcast.
those called? Like flash mob it. Like we just show up. Like a flash pod.
Yeah.
Like we just show up with all the equipment and start talking.
She is very busy. We're all busy, but we can find some time. No, I was going to mention the WIN breakfast. I thought it was really a special moment there at the end. So there's an award. It's called the Kent Heithold Award. And
Who was your boss?
He was my boss at the Columbia Daily Tribune. Gave me my first job in journalism and was a sports editor. Tragically killed in 2001. But the reason the award's named after him is because he was such an advocate for women's sports, all sports. But he didn't discriminate with who got into the Tribune back when he was the editor there, and I was working for him. And the winner, so the award goes to somebody in the community. And it's usually a man because
Yes.
it's somebody who
An ally for
promotes women's sports in some way or another. And this year's winner was Ben Arnett, our friend Ben, who we lost back in the fall. Ben had been the host and MC of this event.
Yes.
So it really kind of came full circle. And Ben also knew Kent really well. Ben was just a young, up and coming reporter, student reporter when Kent was a sports editor here. So and then his lovely
Nicole
wife
did such a good
Nicole accepted on his behalf. There wasn't a dry eye in the
No.
house. She got the only standing ovation of the day. I don't know if you
Yes.
noticed that.
Yes.
But such strength and poise for her to accept that award, and man, it was a special moment. Yeah.
That was very cool. I love that event every year. I used to. There's a win in a lot of towns, a lot of cities. And
Yeah.
I used to always go to the one in Kansas City, the win for KC. Just one of my favorite events.
We need to see if they can have a best female podcast host category.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We'll talk to
would-
some people.
Okay.
You just looked as if Steve's there, and he's not.
I know Steve's not there. Speaking of being busy,
Yeah, our
Steve had to-
listeners
he had to go take a
noticing Steve
call.
Sowers isn't talking. I forgot to tell you, guess who I met last Saturday?
okay.
Someone who has not been on Storytellers, but has been talked about and is at the center of one of the greatest stories ever
Cliff
told.
Judy?
No.
Oh.
No, I know Cliff. Chuck Sowers.
No.
Yes. I met him at their son's, his grandson's basketball game.
Amazing. Did you immediately ask him about that
Yes,
story?
I'm like, you're the guy with the minivan and the shoes, and he enjoyed that I knew that. Yeah. So
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, I can't say I know a whole lot more about him other than his amazing story.
No,
Western Illinois,
hands
yes.
down one of the best stories that's ever been told.
Awesome. Okay, what else we have?
All right. Man, your sport's crushing it.
Yep.
Gymnastics is on fire.
Yeah.
They are peaking at the right time.
Had a great meet last week against Florida. Number 2 in the country, Florida was. And then we outscored them. Had a really solid night.
Yeah, it was good. In
Good
front of all
crowd.
of our alumni.
Yeah.
Had
that
almost
was-
50
that was
alumni
awesome.
there.
Yeah, and got some special recognition for every decade was representative that the program has been in existence from the 70s on. And a lot of pride in that program. So great to see the turnout. And it's funny, it's a weird sport because the rankings, are determined by your score, not by the final outcome. We actually had a better
Yes.
score the week before
Yes, against
against LSU, but we didn't win that one, the head-to-head. We won this one, but our score wasn't as high. So, it's a little bit different than other sports.
Every year I pick a new sport to learn more about, and this year has been gymnastics.
Yeah?
I think Jocelyn has helped with that.
Oh, sure.
Jocelyn Moore working in the office with me.
Who crushed it at the alumni event.
Oh my gosh, she had to spearhead that whole thing because I was at a Mill Creek fundraiser on Friday night, and she just did so awesome.
She did. She's got a bright future.
I'm excited for her.
She had-
And now that they're at Mizzou Arena, like
Yes.
the alumni thought that was just amazing.
Yeah.
So good. And I
Yeah.
told you before, it looks so good on TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an amazing venue.
So we've got one more event there. It's a quad meet against 3 other teams. And then we are coming back to this building, Hearn Center, for March 1st against Arkansas.
We do have a non-gymnastics event coming to Mizzou Arena.
That's right.
Comedian Nate Bargatze.
A little less than, or a little over a week.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's going to be there on February 21st for his Big Dumb Eyes World Tour. You can still purchase your tickets on Ticketmaster now. No need for us. We already have ours.
That's right. Yep.
We will be there.
We will be there. We were in a meeting the other day. We were talking about ticket sales, and we were looking at the map of the seats to show where there's some tickets still available. And somebody made a comment like, "Yeah, there's some people apparently bought seats in our basketball student section, forgetting that there's no backs to those seats."
I don't want to hear about it.
And I was like, "Oh, yep, some people did do that."
Some people didn't pay attention and were just like, "Oh yeah, that looks good."
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I don't know who that was, but
Nope,
this is
nope.
what I've heard.
Something. Yeah.
Winter Olympics are on. Are you a Winter Olympic guy?
I plan to watch the men's hockey. I will enjoy
Is that tonight?
It started today as we're
Today.
recording this.
Okay. Yeah. Connor was talking about that. I think it's
Because
a
our
St.
NHL players are playing in it this year, so it
Yes,
just
I
adds
think
a
that
little
it's a
excitement.
St. Louis thing that you have to be excited about USA hockey.
Yeah.
I watched a couple nights ago. It was some of the ice dancing.
Yeah.
It was 90s night.
Oh.
It was so amazing. I mean, it was Madonna. It was LaBouche.
I missed that.
It was Spice Girls. It was so fun. And their costumes reflected it and everything. I was in my element.
I watched a good deal Saturday night. I think there was some downhill skiing, maybe some figure skating.
Yep, there's been a lot of I think it's the ice dancing, because there's a difference between the figure skating and the ice dancing.
Oh.
Less jumps, more choreographed things.
I don't know if I had the volume turned up, so I probably wasn't getting a lot of the nuanced
But we also
commentary.
watched a little bit of curling with the kids
Oh, I haven't watched any
on
of
Monday
that
night.
yet. Yeah.
We were flipping through just looking for something to have on while we did prep things for the next
Activities.
day.
Yeah.
And the kids were like, "What is this? I don't want to watch this." Fast forward 15 minutes, and they are fully invested.
Yeah. They're like asking you to get lessons.
Well, we explained to them, they're like, "How does this work?" And we explained to them that it was kind of like, we have a shuffleboard table in our basement.
You do.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like, we're like, it's kind of like
I
shuffleboard.
wasn't asking. I was confirming.
Yes, confirmed. You've been in the basement. And they were watching, and they were, because it was USA and Italy, it was pairs.
Yeah.
And so they were there like, just cheering on. Amelia's like booing Italy and like getting mad when they were doing things right. And it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
If you had to pick a favorite Winter Olympic event, what would it be?
to watch,
Or just that
or
intrigues
that
you?
I would like to like participate in.
I need to hear both. I feel like they would be different.
I don't like heights, so
Okay.
I've been skiing, but I could not do like the downhill. That is terrifying.
Like the one where they jump, or the slaloms,
the one where they go down like 2 miles.
and then go off the ramp.
At one point they do.
I promise we work in athletics, guys. We know sports.
Yeah. I don't know the exact event.
Well, because there's the slalom one where they go around the flags.
Well, yeah, that one too. That
But
looks
you're talking
hard.
about the one where they just pretty much go straight
The
down.
ski jump.
Yes. Yes.
Could not do that. Could not even. I don't know if I could watch it. I just don't like heights that much.
I like all the sleds.
The luge,
The
the
luge,
bobsled. Bobsled's cool.
Bobsled, the skeleton. That's
Is-
scary. That's the head first one.
What's the one on your back? The luge.
Yes. What's the one where somebody lays on the other person?
The 2-man luge.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
It's just so.
Or I just said something really inappropriate. But
Like,
I
who-
think it's,
Who thought of
who
that?
stumbles into that as their event?
I don't know, but it's just so cool because it is also. I saw a joke the other day that it was like the Summer Olympics speaking, and it was like, I'm here to figure out who can run fastest, who can jump highest, who can flip, who can swim, all this. And the Winter Olympics is like, I'm here to figure out who can do the craziest, scariest stuff and not die. And it's like, they're not wrong.
Pretty much. I saw a cross-country skiing event where the guy was going uphill.
At a sub 6 minute mile.
He was like the best in the world, but still.
Yes, sub 6 minute
Do they
mile.
all have to go uphill?
He was, well, that's part of it, but he was going more than 10 miles an hour. It was insane. At one point, they had him like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I can't even run that fast.
The Olympics are one of those things where I don't invest a lot of time watching them, and then when it's over, I'll watch like the closing ceremonies. Be like, man, I should have watched more of that.
This is one, I mean, we talked earlier about how negative social media can be. That's one area that I do love social media. I like catching up on all the things I didn't see.
Oh,
You know, because, I mean, especially the Winter Olympics, there's a crazy time difference between
Yeah.
here and Italy. So you can't watch everything live, but it's fun to be able to see highlights from events and really cool things that happened
Yeah.
and just be able to kind of get them a little bit at a time.
okay. Well,
So
hopefully we didn't lose everybody talking
Yeah.
about the Winter Olympics.
it's not even
Got on the
Friday.
kick there. I kind of forgot we were recording. Okay, what else is coming up? You've got HOF,
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
So we're close to getting the process started for our 2026 class.
correct.
Haven't voted yet.
No, but we by the end of the month.
Nominees are in, and
Yep.
it's exciting.
It's very exciting. It's super cool. It's fun to just think about the amount of options that we have, and then also sad to think that we have to whittle that back down.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not that you're not amazing, but there's just so many
Right.
amazing people in one group.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the process going there, and it's going to be a good class. And you've elevated this event to such a high level now, to where I think last year, I mean, man, that was one of the best things that
That was
happened at
so
Mizzou
fun.
all year. And now we've raised the
Stop.
standard, raised the expectation. I mean, I clearly helped, but
Well, obviously.
yeah, I mean, you can't do it all by yourself. No, I'm really looking forward to everything from the voting to the announcing to the however we go about that process.
I know that's
It's
the
gonna
other
be
fun thing. Is like, ooh, like how do we do it? Do we do it the same? Like how do we figure
Yeah.
out how to tell them secretly?
Yeah, well,
That's fun.
it's part of the process.
You just added a note to our notes
Did.
here, and I thought of it earlier too, and I was like, oh shoot, but I was mid thought. We had 3 Tigers
Yep.
in the Super Bowl. We had 2 on the Patriots, 1 on the Seahawks. We talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Huge congratulations to Drew Lock.
Drew Lock, yep,
The-
Super Bowl winner. You can't take that away from him. I don't care that he didn't play.
Nope, the 3rd backup quarterback.
Yep.
to
Chase
get a-
Daniel won one with the Saints. Blaine Gabbert won 2 Super Bowl rings
Yep.
with the Bucks and the Chiefs.
Mhm.
And now Drew Lock with the Seahawks. And did you see any of the interviews with him? There were a couple interviews with him in the
No.
locker room, and man, like he understood he wasn't the starting quarterback. It was all
Mhm.
about Sam Darnold, but like he took such joy in being part of it. And every question he got was like, this experience being part of this team has been awesome. It was never about him because obviously he didn't play.
Right.
But man, what a great guy. He was a really stand-up student athlete when he was here, when I was in the media. And tell him you had an interaction with him
I did.
Monday
It
morning.
was crazy. So
Yeah.
I texted him Monday morning and just said, introduce myself because we've never met in person. And if
Yeah.
we have, it's been in like very, very passing. There was no introductions made. And I just introduced myself, said I wanted to say congratulations. We were proud of him, you know,
Yeah.
MIZ. And not expecting anything.
Right. I mean, he's just played in the Super Bowl now, where he was on the Super Bowl party the night before, right?
Within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
He responded, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. You know, like really proud to bring another ring to the Tigers history or whatever. Like it was so cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I do have to say, so in that vein though, what's also cool when Ian Kinsler won the World Series a few years back, I did the same thing. He also responded.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, they nothing but respect for you, of course.
But also, yeah, I mean, just like that they are just regular people.
Yeah.
You know, they're just cool people.
Okay, so Bob Brendel puts this list together every year and he updates it, and I didn't have a platform to really use it. Tigers who started in Super Bowls. Okay, I've got the list in front of me.
Okay.
Didn't necessarily win,
Okay,
But-
but started.
but started. Gus Otto,
Yeah.
Andy Russell,
Yeah.
John Matuzak.
I don't know that one.
Okay, you do know who he is though. John Matuzak. He only played here for 2 years. He I think may have gotten kicked out of school.
Okay.
Became an actor. You know him as Sloth from the Goonies.
You stop.
Yes. Yes. Look him
That
up.
is cool. Okay.
He's passed. He's no longer with us, but yes, was a Tiger. Eric Wright. We know
Okay.
Eric.
Yep, I know
We
Eric.
visited with him in Las Vegas a couple years ago at the Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, but then he came to one of our caravan tour events in St.
Oh, did
Louis
he?
a couple
Okay.
years ago.
Otis Smith.
Okay.
Played for the Patriots. Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
Great Mike Jones. Alden
Who?
Smith.
Yes.
Of course, Justin Smith.
Yes.
Justin Britt.
Yes.
Kendall Blanton.
Yes.
And then, of course, Nick Bolton.
Yes.
And then also played in the Super Bowl, in addition. Bud Abel. He was with the Chiefs.
Okay.
Super Bowl I. So before
That's
our
so
time.
cool.
Henry Stuckey played with the Dolphins. Scott Anderson played with the Vikings. Tony Galbraith, Jerome Sally.
Mm-hmm.
Byron Chamberlain, he played with the Broncos, later transferred. Ziggy Hood, Shane Ray, Coney Ely, and Yasir Durant, who was with the Chiefs
Yes.
before he was with the Patriots.
I love that this
So-
list is just at your fingertips. Like
Now,
you just had it ready.
Tigers who played for a Super Bowl team, but not in the Super Bowl. Okay, Phil Petty, Rick Lyle, Michael Harden, Justin Gage, Chase Daniels, Sean Weatherspoon, Blaine Gabbert, Kendall Blanton in another Super Bowl, Charles Harris, Drew Lock, Marcus Bryant.
What do you mean they played? Oh, they were on the team.
They're on the team, but they
did
didn't.
not play.
They didn't get into the game.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, the others played in the Super Bowl or started in the Super Bowl.
This is what makes me. This is amazing. Like people like Bob Brendel are why I love watching professional football games and hearing the commentators tell me that, this is only the 5th time
Yeah.
ever that a third string tackle has, tackled a quarterback or, whatever.
Yeah.
This is why.
Well, all this amazing information. Welcome back, Producer Steve.
Hey, Producer Steve. Yeah, we're still talking.
Hey.
It's budgets are due on Friday, so I'm just sitting here and extending this conversation as long as I can, so I don't have to open up Excel and finish my budgets.
Dave told me that he got to meet your dad. He got to meet the Chuck Sowers over the weekend.
Chuck and Jeannie Sowers, yeah.
Yes.
How excited was Chuck to know that he had been talked about on the podcast?
He's humble, but he's excited.
Yes.
So my mom, I want to shout her out because she would have been on that trip, but she was still fully employed and couldn't just take off work that day like my dad could. So
She could have ridden shotgun in the van. All the shoes.
Should have just been chucking the shoes out as they drove by.
yeah,
Oh, amazing story.
she could have put little cookies in there or something.
I just picture like a little plastic bag of cookies in each set of shoes.
Just like or she could have put spaghetti in it, like spaghetti suppers for those that have
What?
remember that.
No.
That's like a thing in high school where moms will cook spaghetti suppers for the team and stuff like that.
Cross-country teams do
I thought
that.
you said spaghetti slippers.
Suppers.
And I was
Suppers.
very confused. I was like, I went to an all-girls school. We didn't have a football team. I don't know.
I think the furnace is too loud. You can't hear.
It's the furnace. It's the fan that we're trying to use to cool down, which it has maybe a half degree.
Really? Okay.
Oh, it's
So,
easily
Steve, you
30
missed us
degrees
talk
below.
about Valentine's Day,
It's coming up.
the
isn't it?
Win Breakfast. Marcy Girton has admitted she listened to 2 of our last 3 episodes.
Thank you, Marcy.
She had a road trip and she was listening. Gymnastics, big win over Florida. Way too long discussion of the Winter Olympics.
Did you guys talk about the quad god at least?
No.
No, we didn't get.
What's
talked
his
to
name?
Ilya.
Quad god. That's all.
Ilya
I know.
something.
I
go
saw
off
him
on
do
that.
some kind of backflip. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
is that AI?
No, he really does a backflip, which is really funny because now I had actually learned about this before. It's been brought to light that years ago they had banned the backflip because it was too dangerous. But I think it may have only been in the women's. I'm not sure when it came back into play.
Yeah. This dude is.
Did it? You can't do it with like couples.
No, I think it was always just a singles thing.
You know where I'm going. Didn't happen in Blades of Glory where he accidentally
Yes,
nicked
he
his,
did.
his neck.
Man, that is the second solid movie reference we've had today.
What was the other one? Biodome? That
Yes.
was like 3 hours ago. It's like a Rogan podcast. This is so long. Or Huberman. Those are really long. Okay, and we also then congratulated Drew Lock on his Super Bowl victory. We've got a gift for him. And by the way, when we get off here, you need to reach out and get his home address.
Okay.
We're not going to share it on the podcast
No, we probably
like Mitch Morse did. But it was bittersweet year for Drew. He lost his dad,
Yeah.
former Tiger offensive lineman Andy Locke. And I saw some interviews with him where he talked about, he said dad was watching today, and like, man,
Yeah.
it's like hard to not well up when you see that. But he got to celebrate. Did you see in the footage he was celebrating with this little
Yes.
boy, little girl?
Child? I don't
Yes,
know.
couldn't
Yes.
tell. But they were playing in the confetti down on the field. Really cool. I don't know his contract status. Be interesting to see what
next
Drew
step is
does
for him.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool too. That like the story of him and Sam Darnold because they kind
Yeah.
of came up together.
Yeah,
and,
he went to like the Elite 11.
the
quarterback.
elite ranks as high school quarterbacks and playing together. That's pretty cool. And it's always good to see a Mizzou Tiger
Yeah,
getting a
True
Super Bowl
son.
ring.
absolutely. Okay. All right. That budget's not going to finish itself.
No. But
I wish they could.
Dave, our best Mizzou memories have yet to happen. This is Mizzou Storytellers.
I'm Dave Matter.
I'm Loretta Jones.
Talk to you next week.